Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and we finally have info on what this surprise Summon Rush event is going to be. We got teased about this in the Fusion calendar, right? 2 days with extra Summon Rush fragments. What's it going to be? Could this be really good? And I think certainly I've seen initial reactions today already being, oh, we've seen the art for this event. It's just another Fusion art. Disappointment. Probably not going to be that good. Well, here, let me tell you exactly what it is going to be. So first of all, it is going to be a buy one, get one free, an extra legendary event for Sacred Shards. So pretty simple. If you pull a legendary from a Sacred Shard, you will get a second legendary for free at the same time. It won't be the same as the first legendary. It will always be a different one, but it could be obviously anything you could usually pull from a Sacred. And that's it, pretty straightforward. So it's still the same 6% chance per Sacred to get one. Yeah, look, if you do get one, you're going to get double. We're going to have a 10x on top of that. Let me talk about this first in general. So in general, this get a legendary, get a second one for free. If you do get a legendary, if you do, this is usually pretty much the best summoning event in the game. It's really good. However, that being said, for me, there's a big difference between these for Ancients and this for Sacreds. With Sacreds, this is a very, very big risk. Why is that? Because the Mercy system with Sacred Shards is just not that strong. You could pull a whole ton of Sacreds and not get a legendary. Whereas with the Ancient Shards, the Mercy system is much more powerful. You know, at 220 shards, you will definitely get a legendary. And this is the difference for me. It's actually fairly reasonable to save up lots of Ancient Shards or save up lots of gems and turn them into Ancients to make sure that you will hit a legendary during these events and get your double legendary. With Sacreds, it's very difficult to save these up. They're very important for fusions, for Summon Rush for fusions especially. For guaranteed events, they tend to be extremely good. They're rare, but extremely good. And it's just very difficult to get them. And therefore, it's very difficult to have enough to be able to pull enough to guarantee it. 1 second here. Okay, I just wanted to get this up and let me zoom in so it's easier to see for you. Here we go. Checking this out, right? So this is Sacred Shards, no 2x event right here. So this is what we're going to have, a 10x event. Like if you start from 0, let's say your Mercy is at 0, just to give you an idea. So Mercy is at 0. Your odds of no legendary. If you pull 12 shards, 12 Sacred Shards, it's a 50-50 of whether or not you will have gotten a legendary champion. If you pull, let's say, how many do I have? I have 17. I've got a ton of Sacreds, That's way more than most of you could possibly have. There's a 30% chance no legendary, right? I could go in tomorrow, pull 17 Sacred Shards, 70% of the time, it's going to be good. Maybe I get super lucky. Maybe I get out my second shard and it's super lucky and brilliant. Best event ever. But there's a chance I pull 17 and 30% of the time, I walk away with nothing. 17 epics and I'm going, oh, great. There's basically no reasonable way for me to get more Sacreds. They're ridiculously expensive even if you want to buy them with real money. And now suddenly I've got no Sacreds. And suddenly I'm in a really tough position for finishing the fusion, for doing the next fusion. If they do a guaranteed event in the near future, that's basically a goner as well. So that's a really tough position. One thing to consider, this fusion has been pretty brutal in terms of the points, especially like this Dungeon Divers. The first one was bad, and dear lord, the second one is 4,800 points. This is absolutely brutal. That's so many dungeon runs. It's brutal. Good motivation to skip these Dungeon Diver events, so you might be tempted to get these fragments, but all I will say is watch out. And it's a tough one because, you know, you might go pull enough for the fragment and then go, oh, well, I need to keep pulling to get my buy one, get one free. I'd be very cautious about this event, guys. Very cautious. Now, there is a 10x on top of this, which might sweeten the deal for you. Well, first of all, there's a champion we already know. So there's a Void 10x, which is Leorius the Proud. I think he's a really great champion, one of the best snookers in the game, right? Because he gives himself unkillable for a turn when he drops to 0, but his damage also goes up for every percent of HP that he loses. So when he does drop to like 1 HP and he's unkillable, he hits insanely hard. And he has 2 AoEs. One of them is even a double hitter, which is great against a champion like Rotos even. Though Rotos can ignore the unkillable, so maybe not the best matchup, but you get the gist. But also his A2 makes him immune to a bunch of crowd controls as well. So he's basically immune to crowd control, and he has an unkillable at 1 HP with a bunch of bonus damage at the start of the fight. He's void as well, so he's fantastic. I think he's a brilliant champion. 4-turn cooldown AoE, a 3-turn. His A1 can put decreased defense. Brilliant champ, just through and through. Yeah, I'd love to have. So he is the Void 10x, so that's something to consider. Bearing in mind, of course, it is just a 10x, but 10x events with Voids are a bit stronger. If you're very close to your Void Mercy, it could be worth pulling and getting some shards for this. Try get your Void Mercy. You're not participating, obviously, then, in the extra legendary from Sacreds. It's only from Sacreds, it's not from Voids. But hey, that might be worthwhile. The legendary that's boosted from Sacred Shards is going to be, and Ancient Shards, it's going to be Jagbonesaw. I don't know why you would pull Ancient Shards for this event, though. That would be a stretch. But Jagbonesaw, he is brand new. What are the initial reviews? Actually, reasonably positive for arena offense, campaign, some keeps and faction wars. Okay, what I'm thinking I'll probably do is try get a showcase of this champion up for you tomorrow. I'll test him out. He has a brand new nuker champion. He has Spirit Affinity, which is nice. His A1 can steal turn meter and a chance to repeat this skill. This could potentially do a lot of damage. His A2 is a double hitter that transfers debuffs from him to the target and does more damage. Then he does a debuff spread, taking those debuffs and 2 of those debuffs and spreading them on all enemies. And again, this does more damage. So potentially a very powerful single target hit that can transfer debuffs and spread them. Could be a big problem, though in arena, it could just get him polymorphed. And then you're screwed, right? But this could be interesting for other areas of the game. That debuff spread, that could be interesting to try out. Then he has an AoE that can remove all buffs and do more damage for every buff removed. Give him turn meter when he kills people. And then he can also give himself increased accuracy and crit damage at the start of his turn. So he gives himself increased accuracy to make it a bit easier to do this stuff. Honest opinion, though, how good do I think Jagbonesaw is going to be? I doubt he's going to be that good, honestly, is my honest thought. But maybe. I'm going to test him out and we'll find out for sure. Like, he could do a ton of single target damage. I'm not a big fan, though, of having just 1 AoE and it being 4 turns. That does feel quite punishing for arena. I much prefer 3-turn cooldown AoEs for arena, honestly. And like the, stripping buffs and the debuff spreads and stuff, that's a big problem with polymorph. So that's also a big problem with him for arena. But he has Spirit Affinity, which is somewhat unusual. He's going to be good. But like, is he noticeably better than like Yannicka or Ragash or any of the other good spirit nukers that you could use? I'm not sure. We'll have to test it out. But yeah, I genuinely feel like this event tomorrow is kind of bait. We'll see. We'll see how good the summon rush points are. Maybe there's nice rewards. But I feel like this one is kind of bait, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan. I know probably this is not going to be popular opinion. I know people really like this extra legendary event, that it's super hype. So you are going to get tons of people go out and pull their sacred shards. But for me, not 100% sold. You might need to do it to complete the fusion, and if that matters to you, then that might be something you have to do. Bearing in mind that the other summoning event should be this weekend, and it should be 2x ancient shards, so probably 60, 70 ancient shards. It's been a pretty rough fusion, so I'm upping my estimate here. I say 60 or 70 ancients approximately should be enough to do it, and then obviously fuse up your fire gun Isbales. You can hold more than 100 fragments, by the way. So that's probably the way that you will do it. But yeah, I don't know. Look, let me know. What do you think about this? Would you pull for these champions? I feel like Leorius is much more attractive, but it's just a random 10x event for Leorius the Proud. It's not anything that special. 10x Jagbonesaw, I probably wouldn't be going out of my way for that either, to be honest. I mean, he's new, but that's cool. Extra legendary event from Sacreds is perhaps the most enticing, plus being able to skip some of these really awful fusion events if you get the fragments. But pretty big question mark from me. Pretty big question mark. What do you think? I'll see you all next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.